Like any successful business, middle market companies must focus intensely on their customers. But how do they do that in the face of challenges like talent, technology, and trade? In this episode of The Market That Moves America, we speak with the Chief Marketing Officer from Bluemercury to hear how she deals with these challenges as well as address other opportunities for her company and others in the middle market.
Welcome to The Market That Moves America, a podcast from the National Center for the Middle Market. The center is the leading source of knowledge, leadership, and innovative research on the middle market economy. Throughout our podcast, we will feature middle market leaders and stakeholders to hear their real-world perspectives on trends and emerging issues.
Welcome to the Market That Moves America. My name is Doug Farron, Managing Director of the National Center for the Middle Market, located at The Ohio State University Fisher College of Business. We are very excited about today's episode because not only do we have a middle market executive joining us, we also have a Fisher College of Business alum joining us. So today I'm going to be talking with Minyi Su from Bluemercury. Minhee, we're glad to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, very happy to join, Doug.
So we had a chance to meet each other recently at a Fisher College alumni event in New York City. It was a great discussion that we had there. So I'm thrilled that you were able to join us to kind of repeat that, so to speak. But before we get into the conversation about some middle market topics, can you tell us a little bit about your background and then what you're currently doing with at Bluemercury?
Right, very happy to. So my name is Minyi. I'm currently head of marketing for Bluemercury. So I lead PR, creative, social media, performance marketing, and brand marketing. Basically, everything related to marketing. I am not a traditional marketer. I have a very diverse background. Actually, my love for consumers and retail started at a young age at 14 when I worked at my mom's retail store selling fashion accessories and toys and etc. in China, and I always have a passion for having a closer connection to the consumer. I came to the US. I first studied accounting at the Fisher College of Business at Ohio State. That launched my career into a way that I couldn't even imagine what opportunities it opened up. So I started more in finance and accounting in New York City at Ernst& Young, and then went into strategy consulting at McKinsey. I have an MBA from University of Chicago. So more of a mix of finance, business, and now more marketing focused background.
Awesome. And tell us a little bit about Bluemercury, just for listeners who may not have heard about the company. Tell us a little bit about your products and markets and things of that nature.
Of course. Bluemercury actually has been around for about 26 years. And it started as a mom and pop company, that neighborhood luxury beauty store, bringing the luxury skincare products to the consumers where they are. With a 26 years history, the company has grown into a omni leaders in the premium skincare and beauty space. It has about 175 stores across the country. We carry mostly different higher price point products that has high performance and results for the consumer. Um, for those who don't know, Bluemercury is actually owned by Macy's Inc. So it's the in the Macy's Inc. family, but we remain that kind of middle-sized small business agility and flexibility.
And in your time at the company, what are some of the kind of key influences or factors that you've seen that have driven the growth of Bluemercury? Has it been things like expanding into new markets or innovating new products? Like, what are some of the broad categories that drive business growth?
Uh, Very good questions. I always go back to the consumer. So I think the factors that are driving business growth, they are really related to the consumer behavior. Number one factor is definitely about the expansion, but the expansion of footprint is driven by the stronger desires and growth of the consumer space for desiring a higher result, higher efficacy premium beauty products. And we've seen that overall demand has grown in the last probably 20 years or so in the US and globally. So the footprint growth is driven by that demand growth. The second thing is the innovation in the beauty space as well. So in the assortments and availability of products, if we look at the companies even just 5 years ago or 10 years ago, we have significantly changed the assortments to be increasingly relevant to what the consumer wants. Starting with more skincare based, now the consumers are venturing across a total beauty care regimen. So the products that we carry in our door, looking at from that lens, from skincare, makeup, hair care, fragrance, and home fragrances. So we are growing in that lens of being more sophisticated in all category related to beauty, and that's how the consumers are thinking about their total beauty consumption. The last piece of the growth, I do think, is driven by COVID and these external factors that accelerate a company. The company was very brick and mortar in histories, and since this is a neighborhood store, everyone kind of know their neighborhood manager, love to pass by as you walk your dog or drop off your kids, and then you just want a little moments of feeling better about yourselves or finding your next regimen. Since COVID, the role of digital has changed. That it's no longer just about fulfillment, but digital has become more of a discovery channel as well as a acquisition channel for the company. So those are the three things I would say is consumer demand, innovation in the industry, as well as like the pandemic really accelerated changes.
Yeah. Would you say that the brick and mortar stores, though, are still very important for the company? Because I talk to a lot of people and I'm surprised. They're like, hey, yeah, I know Bluemercury. That's in my neighborhood. To your point, they walk by it every day or they see it or stop in. So to me, that's almost like even though digital may be an increasing part of the business, the brick and mortar still has a large role. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. The brick and mortar, the reason that is so important, well, one is the history of the company being that bringing the luxury to the neighborhood. The other is the human connections that brick and mortar deliver. A pure digital experience cannot deliver given we're in a more premium segment of the consumer, that human connection, the exclusivity, the experiential kind of journey is what differentiate us from a lot of competitors that they can not get elsewhere. Beauty is still a very sensorial category. You want all senses to come to life: the scent, the texture, the color, and all those elements really play into the decision making. So the company took good care of how that brick and mortar would aid that consumers in finding their beauty regimens and products they cannot live without.
That makes a ton of sense. So let's dive into some of these topics that the center has been following that are particularly important to middle market companies. And you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned one already, and that's where I want to start, which is around technology.
Yeah.
And so you have a very interesting background with public accounting, consulting, now marketing at a middle market company.
Yeah.
In your career, how have you seen technology maybe influencing how a company makes decisions or how you operate, or what are some examples of that you might be able to share?
Right. Technology is extremely important in decision making, mainly because it provides, I think there are two things. One is it provides a trustworthy, reliable information for you to analyze decisions as well as predicting where you should place your bet. So it's rather than just relying on experiences and gut feeling, technology enabled that more neutral, less biased way in looking at where the business goes and increase our chances to win in the market. Secondly, is technology allows us to scale. The the examples that I would give is everywhere I go is almost a transformation in technology, and it's very exciting to see. You will see technology being used. For example, when I was at other companies, um, looking at how we can optimize supply chain and improve our forecasting and reduce inventory so that we can reduce inventory write-off. So there's a whole technology reforms in the companies in supply chain data and procurement, etc., all into one house. Um, Obviously, at Bluemercury, this is also extremely important when we're going into Omni. Technology allows us to scale. So with the digital transformation, we need a better CRM. We need better management of our platforms. We need to ensure that we're minimizing risk of fraudulent activities, as well as having a good foundation to scale to handle the amount of messages or emails or creative assets that we make. So it's also a foundation to scale growth. This is, from a performance wise, I've seen technology used in it's a very integral part of the business. You can't do anything without thinking technology first and how that is integral into part of the decision making, transparency, risk management, and your profit and loss optimization.
Yeah, sure. And the probably the most talked about technology right now, of course, is AI. And
Yes.
so is Bluemercury currently utilizing AI in either the marketing functions or other parts of the business?
Yes. We're use because we're very small. I would say we're not at a scale of, hey, implementing AI in everywhere. So this is, first of all, every employee is probably using AI in a certain way to improve their efficiency. I've seen like people using AI to better structure their narratives and storytelling. I've seen we using AI to improve our messagings to be sharper. Us using AI to conduct consumer research. So it is in every piece of the roles and functions in a more organic way already. I would say in a less organic way, how we're considering using AI is going back to the root of how we differentiate from competitors is about that human connection. So how do we use AI to enhance that human connection is where we're focusing the AI conversation. Because AI can be applied in everywhere. And I lead marketing, obviously I'm biased into that assisting the customer love and loyalty. So the tools that I am considering right now are, can I get to that can really help me enhance social engagement, training an AI voice for us to reach to high reach influencers and content creators? Can I use AI at scale to ensure I can do better targeting and messagings to my email and CRM journeys? Can I use AI in customer service so that we're able to provide better recommendations and improve that connection with the customer? So every angle that I'm looking at AI at Bluemercury is through that lens of how does it enhance our offerings and human connection.
Yeah, yep. So clearly, technology is important at companies of all sizes, middle market, including Bluemercury, of course. But
Yeah.
you still need people and talent. So let's kind of shift to that topic. We've seen over the last, gosh, almost 10 years now, middle market companies tell us that oftentimes
Yeah.
like attracting, retaining, and developing good talent can be a challenge. Are those anything that you experience at Bluemercury?
Yes, absolutely. We experience that challenge as well. I think as a smaller company, the growth cycle is not linear at times. So you could have a great year and then you could have a less of a great year. Given, as you're smaller, you're probably more prone to economic cycle. What we have to think about talent is not just the ups and down with the economic cycle, but a little bit longer term. Where can they grow? What can we incentivize them with? I find it really challenging in finding more room to growth when there is economic downturn. So how do I think about that talents if there is not a official promotions like really near term for them? Because usually in a bigger company, you probably can open up different places and pockets from a growth perspective for amazing and star talent. So that's a key part of how do I retain them without having more of the upward mobility in the short term, right?
Right.
To your point of finding and attracting talents, is the compensation, what is the upside financially and non-financially that Bluemercury can provide to the talent? And this is something that as a resource strapped company, when you're small, you want it to be very efficient with every dollars that you spend. Talent is extremely important. So how do we stand out in the marketplace to attract those to come with both levers is a key challenge as well.
So, what are some of the ways that you think about training and development for your
Mhm.
workforce? Is it something that's like, are you sending people out to formal classes and training, or is it more informal, kind of experiential on the job? That's a question we get a lot. Is
Mhm.
middle market companies may be struggling if they need to develop people or they need to create new skill sets. How do they go about doing that? Or do you have any examples?
Yeah, I find great examples of encouraging the team to be more outward. I would say like more open to experiences and learnings outside of Bluemercury as well. Um, the beauty of being a mid-sized company is that you actually have quite a big of scope than what you would do in a larger company. You would, in a larger company, specifically focus on one work stream, while at a middle company, a smaller size company, you're overseeing multiple different things at the same time. That gives the talent an opportunity to be representing the company in a bigger way. So what I mean is that there are a lot of conferences that right now, like different industries would host. Um, and I encourage my team to take advantage of those conferences or trade shows or outside experiences that would give them more informations and data point in how the market is changing and be more sensitive to that and upfront to those innovation. I think at a bigger company, it's more difficult to do because you don't oversee bigger pieces. But now you're in a mid-sized company, not only you're only overseeing emails, you might be overseeing multiple channels together. So I encourage my team that own the bigger scope to then what are the new tools out there that can improve. I'm using marketing as an example, improve digital marketing. What are the new um, you know uh, exciting like social engagement agencies out there, and what are they doing? So these are the very great learnings that the team bring back to the table and insert innovation, and that makes them very motivated as well because they now can represent our company and then be engaging in these conversations.
Yeah. Great. So the last topic I wanted to touch on, and you kind of mentioned this earlier, was around kind of trade and supply chain. And
Mhm.
COVID clearly had a big impact, as you mentioned a little bit earlier, on some opening up, different focus and priority on the digital channel.
Yeah.
Now that we have this kind of, the trade policy keeps changing and things like that, what are you seeing and how has that impacted your company in terms of how you've had to maybe make changes in your supply chain or think a little bit differently?
Yeah. So with the trade policies changing, we see two things. Externally, our brands, given our retailer, so we sell beauty brands products, so not just our own products. The brands are more cautious with their cash. So everybody try to preserve as much cash as possible to be ready to deal with any uncertainties or unpredictability. So we see a little bit more cautious in spending, especially in marketing. We also see that brands are starting to bake into some price increase assumptions, also including ourselves. Like, what does that mean to scenario plan if we will have to absorb a certain cost? What part of that the company should absorb, and what part of that can be passed through? So those are the scenario planning that we see. The second thing that we see is a more rigorous approach in managing inventory. So how do we get to a better inventory management system and or process to reduce more write-offs in inventory and increase our inventory turnover? These are very important levers to pull where the macroeconomics on trade policies can impact the supply chain from a cash flow perspective and inventory perspective. So we're seeing more thoughtfulness in this, but overall, we do not see that passing to the consumers yet. I think every company is still trying to figure out how do we do this with the least disruption to our top line, which means the least disruption to the consumer.
Right. So the last thing I kind of wanted to ask was, what are some other big trends that you might see developing over the next, say, 1 to 2 years that may impact, your role or company specifically, or just even for the broader middle market outside of the technology, trade, and talent that we've talked about today? Are there other things that you see as being big issues or factors?
I do think the AI will continue be more and more important. So I know we already talked about that, but the transformation is just only in the beginning. I think that what we will see in the 12 to 24 months is completely changing how companies think about workforce. I'm seeing more about the staffing model of freelance plus AI into a more speed and agility. And I'm seeing that in mid-sized company more as we think about talent. And this changed how talent thinking about their own journey as well. So versus like, hey, I'm going to stay in a company forever. Can I look at myself as a small company as well, having different clients and freelancing on a topic I'm extremely good at and helping clients to scale? So definitely seeing the movement of the staffing model changing for many companies to be more agile. The other thing that I think is really interesting in seeing is the diversification of innovation. So I really see that this is a great opportunity for mid-sized and small-sized company to start at the center of innovation and bringing different ideas to the consumer. I keep telling people, because I'm in retail, I keep referencing the success of Pop Mart, how you use blind boxes or try different low risk experiments embedding into a high returned outcome. So these experimental innovation is what we are seeing in the market, and we'll continue to see more of that for companies to adapt to this new changing consumer preference and also the macro environment changes with AI and global trade.
Yeah, those are great insights. And to your point, middle market companies are at the perfect sweet spot to be able to make those type of small experiments and then rapidly, shift direction based on the result, much more so than a small or large company. So
Yes.
uh,
Yes.
Minhee, this has been a wonderful conversation. I greatly appreciate your time and all of the insights that you've provided today. And again, just want to thank you for being on our podcast.
Yeah, of course, Doc. And I'm very excited to be on here and share my experience with everyone today. And always have a great moment connecting with Fisher again.
Wonderful. Thank you. Well, thanks everybody for joining us, and we will talk to you next time.
Thank you for listening to The Market That Moves America. Never miss a new episode by subscribing anywhere podcasts can be found. You can also subscribe to our email newsletter at middlemarketcenter.org.